All right, hey everybody, it's forgot who I was. Hey everybody, it's Carlos from Immortals Inc. Podcasts. As always, I have Mikey on the.
I am Mikey. I did not forget who I was. Carlos did
5 minutes ago, and then we brought in or Amanda showed up.
Amanda showed up actually before us because she was ready and we weren't.
Yeah, we were ill prepared for such a podcast to
A
talk about
hot topic that actually just released, right?
Yeah, it's
Candela Obscura
yeah.
by Darrington Press.
And
Darrington Press.
And without plagiarizing, Amanda, what would you say this is?
It's a love letter to Lovecraft.
Yep. And I did not plagiarize that before we went live.
So if you like Lovecraft, you're going to love this game because it's got that vibe.
Okay.
All about it. So if you guys are familiar with Critical Role, which does Dungeons and Dragons online.
I'm only familiar with Matt Mercer. That's it. I am
amazing
very
DM. Amazing DM.
Is he
all right.
Did he make Critical Role or form Critical Role or how did that work?
Him and his friends.
Okay.
So, that's what tabletop's all about, is playing with your friends. And just like that, you have games like Candela Obscura, which they also have a show online about. So if you want to see it in action, you can. Taliesin Jaffe is the host for that. I know they've had other game masters host it, so if you want to see a taste of that, they have it out there. I also plan on running a demo here at the shop, so I got to schedule that.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get with Diana and schedule it. And
I schedule all the things.
And check our calendar on our website, provided in the description for that type of stuff.
So this came out. Now, I kind of glossed over it because I wasn't thinking about it. And then I saw it says Candela Obscura. Sorry, I butchered the name. But I'm like, what is that? Because there's like 1,000 role-playing games that come out. And I always have to pick something that's worth it or not worth it. And it's like, I don't want to know if I want to get this. But the only thing I drew my attention to was from Darrington Press. So I'm like, all right, let me go see what this is. So then I went back and I got a lot of positive reviews and had a show about it. I'm like, all right, I'll take a risk on this and order a few copies. So you immediately grabbed it because you were excited. So I'm like, all right, so this is probably a good one.
Well, I'm a big fan of Taliesin Jaffe, so that was the first thing. So when I saw this was coming out, I was waiting for you guys to have it. So when you had it on your shelf, I made sure we bought it.
Nice.
Because I wanted to see what it was all about. I've seen the show, but as with anything, any game, sometimes there's creative liberties taken when a game is portrayed online. So even if I were to run Vampire the Masquerade, it would probably be different than somebody else would run Vampire the Masquerade. Okay. So the way I would run this would probably be different from the way anyone else would, because that's the beauty of running a role-playing game, is you take it the direction you want to take it. And that is the main focus of this horror genre game, is that you and your players take the story where you want it to go through success and failure. And it's a world much like our own, but it's at the turn of the century of the 20th century. So
Lovecraft.
Yep, Lovecraft. And you got, electricity's new. It's centered around a country that is known as Hale. And there's a capital called New Fair, which is, think like Edinburgh or Paris or New York at that turn of the century.
So this isn't set in this world. It's its own world, right?
It's its own thing.
Okay.
It's like a Saint Denis type of place.
But you could adapt it. That's the best part, is you can adapt it really easy. The mechanics are fairly straightforward. It uses a D6 system. You have gilded dice, which are tied to your drive. You can use them regardless of success or fail to get more drive points back. Things that are easy to relate to. If you're familiar with Vampire the Masquerade, the concept of the veil, the line between the land of the living, the land of the dead, and other planes, they call it the flare.
Oh.
Okay? If you're familiar with Warehouse 13, they have a location where they house all the supernatural objects and bleed tainted items and people, called the Fourth Pharaoh. So it's like a museum or a library.
Sounds like it's not just, but it sounds like it's pulling from all different types of, even recent genres. Like you mentioned, everything you say is pretty recent shows or items, mixed in with a little Lovecraft set in the back, So, okay, I get it.
Yeah, like
I
it
get
gathers inspiration from many different.
And they acknowledge
avenues.
that in the book.
Yeah,
That's cool. I'm
They
sure.
acknowledge those who have come before them and their place in the horror genre. And I think the book is very well put together. You got the core rules, all the basic thing a game master would need.
Okay.
Okay, all the things a new player would need minus a character sheet. This is one of the first books I've seen that doesn't have the character sheet in it, but you can get it online real easy.
Okay.
And it tells you where to get it.
We might be able to print that for you here. We
Yes.
might.
For $1.
Depends on how happy he is right over there. Yeah.
For $1.
For $1.
There's several maps. They use storyline arcs. They call them assignments. So it could be a supernatural object you guys are looking for that's causing a problem in the town. It could be something that's leaking magic into the water supply. And your team's assignment is to locate that object, isolate it, and take it back to the fourth Pharos.
This sounds like a lot of like Chill. You ever play Chill? That's
No,
what
I
it
have not.
reminds me of. Well, that's older too. I'm old, so that's what it's always sounding like that, and like an X-Files thing, and like.
It also has some kind of Cthulhu.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
mechanics.
Yeah.
So I have limited experience with Cthulhu, but instead of dying, you go mad. Okay.
In this one, or in Cthulhu.
In Cthulhu, at least the version I played, death is not the only option
Oh yeah.
for ending
yeah.
your character.
There's-
In the case of this, it's the same thing. There's the way you get scarred or damaged by the world around you and the activities you partake in while you're on an assignment or even in between assignments. It, one, changes your character, but two, when you get enough of it, your character is either forced retired from the society because you're part of a secret society as an investigator. You could die. You could end up in an insane asylum. It's a whole spectrum of how do you end when you end.
That sounds like
And that's very Cthulhu to me.
Yeah, that's very Cthulhu. Like, Cthulhu's based around, like, the big part of that is around the insanity and the madness and the, there's whole points in the system how it works, and it is an ending, but it also is somewhere just where your character can branch off into something else. You know what I'm saying? So he might have to retire him. He might die. He might just go insane. But yeah, I could see that. Like, so they're bringing that into this game, which is nice. I could see. It almost sounds like it's like Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu is pretty hardcore when it comes to insanity. This sounds like it might be a lighter version of it. Not making light of insanity, but
I think it's very player friendly.
Yeah,
it's
that's-
a player friendly version of Cthulhu because there's also things like paranoia and whatnot that are very, I guess, can be considered brutal to the players. Even old VTM could be considered brutal to the players in terms of how horribly you end.
No, yeah, that's VTM is brutal. That's
Yeah.
just it's.
So having something that's a little bit, you can choose how dark you want to go. I like that.
That's pretty
because
cool.
then you can tailor it to your audience.
Especially in today, it just like in this era we're in now, it's like that's perfect. I think.
Yeah, because Cthulhu kind of is like hardcore there. Vampire is you're just playing the bad guy. There's no, Hunter's the good guy's got some
This
problems.
has some serious Hunter vibes in terms of
It-
trying
does
to
it?
get the supernatural stuff and getting it out of the
Yeah.
human hands.
But this feels like you could go down that. How do I say this nicely? You could do it. What's that show? Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, or like a lighter version of like, okay, let's tell. You could play this with Could you play this with your kids?
I could play this with my nieces for sure.
Which they're what, like
8
2,
and 6.
3? No.
2 and 3.
I
Get this-
have a lot of
this
nieces
guy outta
and
here.
nephews. I'm gonna tell you, and the 2 that I normally run for could definitely do this.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
that's-
could keep their attention. There's enough there to keep their attention. It's not overcomplicated, but as you know, I run games here at the shop for a lot of people that are in my age range, and older and younger, and I think you can tailor it any which way
Yeah.
Yeah,
based on who your audience is. You can.
that's
make
nice
it
too,
work.
depending on who you play with as well.
Mhm.
And you said this has assignments built into it, correct?
Yes. So you don't have to come to this with all of your supernatural adventures already pre-planned. It comes with, pre-made NPCs, lots of maps for the towns. It comes up with pre-made assignments so you can just jump and play.
Nice.
And you can run easy.
Is the system easy to translate into, say you have an old adventure you like out of like some other horror genre, or you just saw a story or something like that? Would this be easy to just plug those numbers in?
Yes. It's just like Kids on Bikes, where you could plug it into almost anything.
Yeah, you can just
And
guesstimate.
I love Kids on Bikes
Yeah.
for that whole versatility thing. It's very versatile. And it even tells you, if you don't like a rule in here, don't use it. Use something else. But it says that there's like certain core competencies it's looking for, which are all player centric.
Yeah.
And story centric. So as long as you're player and story centric, the mechanics will work for you.
Yeah, but like you don't have to use a mechanic, but if you do, it helps, play into that puzzle piece.
And you don't have to. The other thing is you don't have to roll for everything. You can negotiate it. That's the other part of it, where you can talk it through and say, this is what I want to do. And then you talk it through with the other players. You talk it through with the game master or storyteller, however you want to call them. Because it's about the story. It's not about, I beat up that guy, or I broke that item.
Broke that guy's toe.
It's not a hardcore, hard finish or hard start, or it's not like a pass fail, like immediately, like, all right, this is what I want to do. Oh, you failed, you're out. Like Cthulhu, you fail the roll, you're nuts, or you're crazy, or you're whatever.
There is failure, because you can have like 1 through 3 is a fail, 4 and 5 is a mixed success, and 6 is a success. But you pick which dice contribute to your success or fail, and you negotiate with the DM how that goes down. So you can choose, let's say you want to get one of your drive points back, which help you use your actions and whatnot. You can choose a lower roll and say, I'm going to take a mixed success, where I have to lose something in order to gain something. So, yeah, I get the item, but it's cracked. Okay?
Yeah.
Or I get the item, but I broke my arm.
Okay, yeah. So, but you're negotiating.
You're negotiating
Yeah, you're
how
kind
you
of
still succeed, but you...
As a group, you negotiate and you make a story, and it happens. Like in the other role plays where it's hardcore die roll, it's like the DM decides. The DM is but the only storyteller. So he drives the story. In this, it sounds like in a lot of these new games, I've noticed it's like the group is driving the story, and the storyteller is just kind of guiding them.
The GM's like a broker.
Yeah.
They're brokering the
Yeah,
deals. How can we make this work for you?
Yeah, and then
Nice.
I see that, and it would lead to more fun if that's the kind of game you like. Like to go. Yes, it sounds like a nice evening of sitting around and talking, and more fun to play that way if you like that type of play. So I get that. I get it. So okay, that's where it's coming from, I guess. All that time to say where this is coming from.
It's more of a yes and rather than saying no, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Or a yes but.
But the players you have to have players that are willing to
correct
to play.
And even PvP goes this way. So in the case you have 2 players that want to throttle each other, which apparently seems to be a thing even for Kids on Bikes when I run it.
You got a lot of aggression you got to get out.
Yeah, I guess.
That guy's staring at my popcorn too long.
How dare he? That's my popcorn.
Started fights for less.
Yeah, that's fair. So in like Kids on Bikes, there really isn't a mechanic for that. In this, there is. It does address PvP, but it's still negotiated. So if you are gonna come to fisticuffs with your buddy that's part of your team, great. But you can also come together and use your team traits to add dice to your team's dice pool. So you can go either way with it. You can hinder and help your team.
Yeah, with the assist, it's always like assist.
Yep.
It's most systems have that, but these really, I've noticed that this, and there's another game I just looked at was kind of the same way, and it adds just the dice, and I like that pass fail. It moves along faster. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of number crunching. Either you did it, and then you can talk about it, or you didn't. So it's almost the did or didn't, and then you get to talk rather than I'm spending the same amount of time adding numbers to see if I passed it.
Yeah.
Failed.
The other cool feature that this game has is they don't want you to come to the table with a pre-made character that has its whole past and future designed for it. They want you to have your Swiss cheese holes through your character, so that way you can grow as a character, learn as a character, find out more about your backstory, build your future. So while you pick a role in your team, your role could just be, I'm a person who sells newspapers. I'm one of those newsies, and that's how I got involved. And so your whole thing is you're trying to get an ear to the thrum of the city so you can give it back to your team. But you don't go too far beyond that. It does give you your traits and whatnot for building your character if you want to do a quick build. But you're not coming in saying, well, I was the fourth child in my family and I already had this going on and that going on. And then the storyteller has all this stuff to work with, but your team doesn't really have much to build on.
It goes back to building it together, because if you've got a bunch of holes, you can build it all together. Because I've noticed that when, I have characters and they all come together and they've made their detailed backgrounds, you have to try to interweave. That's a lot of work to try to fix all these detailed backgrounds into one story.
It also makes it so you won't have a good team dynamic because you may not have a reason for them to be together.
Yeah, they just met like, oh, hey, how you doing? And then you got to run with it. There's no,
And they have ways in here to weave your team together, why people get along or don't get along. So there's a lot of mechanics that are about building your story, and I like that.
Yeah, that is really nice.
What do you think of the physical book of the,
the only thing that I actually thought my dog Cheeto dusted this thing, because there's a little spot on some of the pages.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought my dog messed up the book
when
while I
you
was
just
reviewing it, and I started freaking out. And I'm like, wait, that's on every page in the same spot.
So it's just a printing.
Oh, so
it's a
just
printing thing, so it looks old and antique.
Cheeto dusted our books.
She said that. I'm like, is that a reference for something I don't understand?
No.
I'm like, no, she actually thought the dog Cheeto dusted the book.
I
I'm
thought
like,
he Cheeto dusted.
what is that? Is that something? I have to look that up. But
when I'm reading books, and to prep for a game, that's my little co-pilot, and I was like, who gave you Cheetos?
Get out of my book.
Yep.
But yeah, that Darrington Press is always funny because they always send them in cardboard wrapped, like a cardboard case.
Yeah, I started to wonder if it was like when they have manga at this, like Barnes and Nobles, where it's sealed because it's got stuff kids can't see. So I'm like, what is in here that
maybe,
kids
I don't
can't
know.
see? And I flipped through. No, there's nothing. There's no nudity.
There's a cardboard box that comes with it, and all their books come like that. And then my one buddy, who's like psychotic about, I need this in a perfect. He goes, I gave him the book, and he's like, "Where's the box?" I threw it away. He goes, I can't throw the box away. And then I'm like, well, that's him. And then somebody else came in. Oh, do you have the one in the box? And then anything from Darrington Press comes in these cool little cardboard boxes. So I just you saw how I did. I wrote it on the side and it goes on the shelf. So it's like, that's what I do with them. That's what made me laugh but it is a nice book because it's got like a fake leather feel or look to it.
Yeah. How much is it?
Golden inlaid.
Oh, it's $40.
$40.
Not bad. How's the printing? The ink and everything's good in there.
It's nice, and the
Yeah, you can
artwork's
show
nice.
the camera. You can show the camera a little bit.
Artwork is nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this is
full
some of the
color.
roles that you can pick. You got like a journalist, a magician, an explorer, and a soldier. And
Yeah, I like that. Like
so
those
it looks kind of like
cards.
tarot cards. I
Yeah.
like that. And then like some of the maps, they also have like some of the supplements look like real documents.
Oh,
and some of the
nice.
assignments look like documents in a file.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So-
that throws back to like Clue, or not Clue, but
Kind of like Clue, technically.
yeah, like Clue, but also what did I just say earlier? Chill and stuff like that. But yeah, okay, yeah, because I worry about the printing of the book, the binding style, like actually the physical properties of the book. Sometimes
it's
good,
pretty
too.
rough and tumble. I'll give it that.
Yeah, you can. It comes out good. Some place I've had some complaints lately from some larger companies that printing, the ink's all wavy and the books are glued together in some weird place. So it's like, but
Yeah, it's pretty solid. The
yeah.
artwork's nice. But like I said, the Cheeto dust spots
Yeah.
had me worried.
pre-Cheetoed.
Yeah, I was like, Wicket, what'd you do? And I'm like, oh,
He's like, nothing.
nothing.
Then
He's such a good boy.
till he runs under the couch.
He ate the couch.
She'll never catch me. All right. Well, thanks, Amanda, for coming in. We have this on the shelf. You're gonna run something like this.
Yeah, I'll get it on the
we'll get it
schedule.
Yep, we'll get it on the, like I said, on the website on our events page.
And if you like what you saw and like what you heard, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We're on all social media.
Yep, we're on all social media. Dropping shorts every so often
We're
too.
doing a lot of shorts and tell your friends.
Amanda cameos in a lot of them.
I know.
Oh my God.
I'm so mad.
After the coffee catastrophe, I was like, are you kidding me? I had to go walk in while they're doing a video. I was upset.
I'm like,
It's okay. We all spill stuff.
I know. You did the video and made it, and I'm like, oh, Amanda's in it. She won't mind.
It was a catastrophe, the coffee thing. Oh, man. I'm surprised they didn't disown me for Adventure League.
By the way, you're banned.
Man.
All right, guys.
Later,
Thanks.
guys.